I've always dreamed of flying. You know, looking up at a bird and looking at an eagle and really imagining that I could step off a cliff and fly. As I'm preparing to jump, something just switches in my mind. I just love jumping off the mountain, feeling the air, feeling one with nature. I'm messing with you. I just love jumping off shit. So you guys can understand the method to my madness, I'm going to take you back to the beginning of the story.
Jamie's life story is really interesting, and I think from the get-go that was something that really attracted me to him, was that, you know, everything that he's created in his life today has come from a lot of hard work.
When I first joined the army, I was 16 years old. I was part of the Parachute Regiment, and it's one of the elite forces of the British Army. It's got one of the hardest selection processes. Training the Parachute Regiment is full on. They're trying to break you down to complete zero so they can rebuild you into this warrior that they want. The first time I went to Afghanistan was in 2006 with the 3rd Battalion of the Parachute Regiment. Then I went to Iraq around 2007 into 2008, and then I went back to Afghanistan 2009, 2010. The military really shaped my life. It made me mentally strong. If I get into rough times, I know that I can stand up and fight. It's also shaped my sense of humour. If you don't have a sense of humour, you're going to break down. A friend of mine who was a medic in our unit, in his room he had this huge poster up on the wall of this guy wearing yellow pants, jumping off a building, and I looked at that and I was like, that's cool. For the next couple of years after my first base jump were quite interesting. I was so buzzed by doing it that I then carried on jumping in Switzerland and France and Belgium and Italy and all over Europe. Around the same time I was competing in skydiving, and in base jumping I also competed in the World Championships in Spain, and I ended up winning that in 2012. It was a crazy time, you know. Not only was I jumping loads, I was partying loads as well. The next event from Spain was in Kamali, Turkey. The first guy got onto it, he flew up to like 3,000 feet and then jumped out and flew and landed on this pontoon in the middle of the river. Something didn't seem right when we were taking off. Like, got this weird gut feeling, like something doesn't feel good. And I'm like, no, you're just scared. And as soon as I jumped, I was like, oh, actually this is all right. And I started flying. And then I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull high because I don't feel good about this. So anyway, I like flared up, I pulled high. I'm flying my parachute around. At this point, I was looking and I knew I couldn't make the landing area. And I'm looking around and I'm just, at this point, you're looking for emergency landings. So I look down and I'm like, oh look, there's a grassy patch. You have split seconds to make decisions. And that day I made a split second wrong decision and picked what I thought was a grassy field, and it was a boulder field. I don't really remember when I hit the ground. And at that point, nothing hurt. Like, I was so numb and I was like, oh shit, am I paralyzed? And then suddenly the pain sort of comes through. I'm screaming for help, but no one's around. I looked down at the injuries I had and started to assess. I come up to the leg and the femur and it's really hurting in my pelvis. All I'm thinking about is, oh shit, you're bleeding out. Within like 35, 40 minutes, I had EMTs on scene. But that 30 to 40 minutes is the longest 30 and 40 minutes of my entire life. I spent 8 days in Turkish hospital. It's pretty much like a prison. It's pretty daunting. It's not the facilities that we have here in Canada. So there was a long recovery process after that as well. So the doctors were quite negative towards my outcome of what I was going to be able to do after the surgery. Base jumping and skydiving, that was the end of the career.
I guess what makes Jamie different is, his perseverance and his lack of acknowledgement for people telling him that it's not going to work.
I am an extremely stubborn person. When people tell me I can't do something, I'm going out there to fucking do it. Then I'll be better than what you said I couldn't do. From the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed, I'm doing something to help me base jump. Base jumping is my life. Jumping with a group of friends is pretty cool. These people you have to trust with your life, at one of the most dangerous sports in the world. The reward is you just jump with your friends in such an epic place, doing some epic stuff. And then everyone sees the videos and everyone's like, whoa, look at those cowboys. And you're like, no, these guys are so geeky behind closed doors.
I wouldn't do that.
No?
No.
Oh, will it kill me? So yeah, it might look, woohoo, fuck yeah. Behind that are some guys doing some really calculated decisions.
If the solo goes first, and then there's then two-way, then I can gate and then fly around it.
And then I'll just follow you.
I idolise a lot of female base jumpers. I look at some of the girls in this sport who have been around for like 10, 15, 20 years, and you're like, geez, you guys still charging, still doing your thing. These people that are not on social media, not posting all the amazing footage, are still doing it day in, day out in the city where you live, and you have no idea. That's cool. Oh, when I see my friends jump off a cliff, I'm excited for them. I already know what it takes to do that, so I can feel the excitement and the buzz. At that moment where I've made a decision, I'm gonna jump, and I sit there and I go into this nice meditating stage. And then when my buddy's like, okay, 3, 2, 1, boom, mind changes. I've had plenty of times where I thought I could retire for base jumping because of the toll that it's taken on my body. For me, it's a lifetime sport. It's a lifetime decision.
That was sick.
If I can be 70 years old, doing one hike up the Chief a week, I'm gonna be happy. It was an accident coming to West Coast Canada, and I don't regret a second of it. And this is my backyard. This is pretty cool. You can do absolutely any sport in this town. In the morning I could be wingsuiting, in the afternoon I could be kayaking. I'm not very good at whitewater kayaking yet.
Holy fuck, that's cold!
So I'm still learning, and if there's anyone who wants to teach me how to whitewater kayak, I'm open to learn. If you only do one sport right now, I highly recommend going back and learning another one, just to have a different perspective. Jiu-jitsu is such a fun sport, and it's got so many parallels to base jumping, it's unreal. When I step onto a mat, I have no idea what that other person can do. He's there to try and hurt you. When you look at a cliff and you're looking over the edge and you're about to jump, when you leave that cliff, you don't fully know what's going to happen. As soon as they say, you know, fight, or you say 3, 2, 1, go, you give 100% in both of those sports, because if you don't give 100%, you're going to get hurt. There's no playing in these.
Come on, Jamie.
When you roll with someone in the UFC, you know they're in the UFC for a reason. I was on my back, flat, yeah, and you know he was going light as well.
I was impressed. He hasn't been grappling that long, and he's better than I expected he was going to be, so it's cool.
You know, spending quite a bit of time now with Lando, I think that we've definitely got similar mindsets, and actually, you know, we get on so well. It's very weird to actually hear when he's talking about, you know, stepping into the octagon in front of millions of people who are paying to watch us fight, and me stepping up to a cliff and getting ready to jump. I think maybe that's how our friendship has bonded.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, see ya.
Oh, I was so tired seeing the whole fucking drop. Seeing it in person is just totally different, man. Totally different experience.
There's a lot of people that inspire me in this world, you know, and I definitely think the people that inspire me are my friends, and Lando's definitely one of those guys who has inspired me to do what I want to do.
How would I describe Jamie Flynn? Really depends if he's going to see this video or not. He's a little high maintenance. He can be a bit of a baby sometimes.
Not necessarily always politically correct.
Definitely a huge pain in the ass.
Definitely not the person you want to introduce to your parents.
I apologize to no one.
Has a heart of gold. If you need to bury a body at 3 in the morning, you can call him at 2:45 and he'll be there.
Braden and Jamie, they have a pretty hilarious friendship.
It's really great to have a friend like Jamie here in Squamish that you can just text any time of day. Hey, you want to do a jump? Meet up, just like you're going for coffee.
Having someone to jump with is actually so much better than just jumping alone.
Just being able to call somebody and go, it's awesome.
I think you definitely do have to have something in your brain wired a little bit differently to go about, you know, any kind of extreme sport.
It takes a lot to want to chuck yourself off a cliff in a wingsuit.
I think the most important thing mentally to be a wingsuit pilot is to be able to calculate risk and make good decisions. And a lot of that comes down to being patient and not having a tendency to rush. And I think that the guys that I look up to the most and that have been base jumping the longest have a real ability to calculate risk and ask themselves the question, what jumps are worth it?
Three, two, one.
That accident, where I had a gut feeling throughout that things weren't lining up, is now what I implement into my base jumping today. I'm not the best base jumper in the world. Yeah, I don't ever pretend to be that. I'm not pushing the envelope to the highest degree, but I'm doing what I love.
He found this thing that he loves doing and just decided, I'm gonna make this my life. And that's crazy, and I love that about him, and it's crazy that he would even think that would work, but it did.
The most important thing is to be happy in this world. There's a lot of people out there with a lot of money, and they are extremely miserable. Go out there and do the things you love, and the things that inspire you, and the things that you know, get your fire burning. Money comes and goes. The memories is what you take with you.